So there's been some very interesting developments with the implosion ring that has been featured in the last few videos, particularly in regard to its load carrying capacity. Viktor Schauberger himself demonstrated the superior load carrying capacity of his modified log flumes, which used flow vanes and a curved construction to guide the water into a more centripetal vortex motion. But what about the claims of megalithic level power of implosion? An Austrian author and Schauberger enthusiast named Leopold Brandstatter claimed in his writings that implosion was so powerful that even a small device of only 8 inches in diameter and rotating at 10,000 RPM could lift a colossal 57 tons and 228 tons at twice the speed, as the lifting force was proportional to the square of the angular speed. This claim seemed to be Brandstatter's in particular, whose 1956 book Implosion was said to be a mix of both facts and fantasy, and that Brandstatter had a quote-unquote speculative approach to Schauberger's work. The book was actually based on actual interviews with Schauberger, but even Schauberger himself was said to have somewhat disliked the reworkings of the interviews used for the book. The goal of the book Implosion and other writings on the subject at the time was to inspire an energy revolution which would supplant and replace the development of the potentially dangerous nuclear power, even if it meant hyperbolizing some of the capabilities of implosion. Implosion was not to be harnessed for military purposes, but instead to herald a new millennium of unlimited potential. And so the question is, could implosion devices really develop this kind of force? I aim to find an answer to this question by both experiment and calculation. The experimental setup here is the same as before, but the ring has been modified to carry several 1-inch thick bolts, as well as nuts, as small weights, which can be added and removed to test the lifting strength of the rotating ring. A tachometer and reflector strip are placed on the outside of the chamber and are used to measure the angular speed. We can see here that the loaded ring rises readily inside of the chamber as the angular speed is increased. 8 1-inch thick bolts that are 3 inches long, as well as 32 1/2-inch thick nuts, bring the weight of the ring to about 3.19 pounds. Now, another interesting observation to note is how little water there is in the container. Pouring the water into a jug to weigh it, we see that the weight of the water is little more than the ring, at about 3.69 pounds. Further, placing a wooden disc atop the inside, we can see that it is buoyant enough to float, but readily sinks when the loaded ring is placed on it. But again, here we can see that the ring floats more than 2/3 the way to the top of the chamber when it is rotating at about 1809 RPM with that same amount of water. So we recall that Schauberger was able to float heavy logs with significantly less water by getting the water to flow centripetally in his log flumes. And this seems to be independent experimental verification of that principle. Another slight modification was that I had to tape the outside of the container to the lid in order to maintain the pressure. At one time, the top was blown clear off by the implosive force. This suggests that if the force could be developed quickly enough, the loaded ring would be propelled right out of the container. Now, as relates to the 8-inch implosion device, which is claimed to lift 57 tons, this particular chamber itself, used in the experiment, is about 8 inches in diameter. And we have seen that at an angular speed of 1809 RPM, that it was able to lift 3.19 pounds. If we multiply this angular velocity figure by 5.5, we would get 10,000 RPM, the angular speed in which it is claimed that a force of 57 tons is developed. And since the lifting force is related to the square of the angular velocity, then 5.5 times the speed should equate to 5.5 squared, or 30.25 times the lift. But 30.25 times 3.19 pounds is only 96.5 pounds, a figure that is 1181.3 times smaller than 57 tons. However, this system has not yet been modified for maximum performance. One of the main issues is the less than perfect centering of the chamber itself and its supporting disc. This results in a substantial wobble, which becomes increasingly worse at higher velocities, with significant energy being lost each revolution, energy which should instead be used to entrain the fluid and build maximum kinetic energy. It's very similar to building resonance and rhythm in acoustics. Another improvement would be the implementation of curved flow vanes along the inside surfaces of the rotating chamber to enhance the upward flow of the fast-moving water, which would grant even more levity within the system. These are just two of several possible improvements which I will attempt to implement in the next design, though it is still very questionable whether or not even these improvements alone would allow the device to perform at the claimed forces. Because according to the math, a force of 57 tons at 10,000 RPM would mean that the same system will have to be able to lift a still colossal 1.88 tons at 1,809 RPM. But it would still be interesting to see just how high the force can go with the current equipment and design. More developments are soon to follow. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay tuned.